The Cleveland kidnapping case, piecing together this disturbing enigma. For over a decade, three young women vanished, each disappearance more confusing than the last. This is not just a story of captivity. It's a story of survival, silence, and a neighborhood that didn't see the horror hiding in plain sight. Cleveland, Ohio, early 2000s. A working-class city built on resilience, still reeling from the industrial downturn. It was the kind of place where everyone knew their neighbors, or at least they thought they did. In 2002, 21-year-old Michelle Knight disappeared, her absence barely registered in the media. She was dismissed as a runaway, a young single mother struggling with poverty and a complicated family life. Her story was already buried before it could be told. A year later, Amanda Berry, 16, vanished just a day before her 17th birthday. She had called her sister from the Burger King where she worked, saying she was getting a ride home. She never arrived. Then in 2004, the city was shocked again. Gina De Jesus, just 14, failed to return home from school. She had been walking the same path she did every day. Her family launched a tireless public campaign. Posters, interviews, prayers. 3 girls, 3 years, 3 separate disappearances. The connection between them? Not immediately obvious. And in the middle of it all stood a man few would suspect, Ariel Castro, a local school bus driver, Cuban-born, divorced, quiet, friendly enough. He played bass guitar in a band and waved to neighbors on the porch of his aging home on Seymour Avenue. No one knew that behind the closed doors of 2207, a hidden world of horror had been created, a fortress of pain, a prison crafted out of deception and soundproof walls. But to piece together this enigma, we have to go back to the beginning. Michelle Knight, August 23rd, 2002. She had just left a cousin's house. Her destination? A family court hearing to regain custody of her son. She never arrived. The police classified her as a runaway. No Amber Alert, no headlines. The world moved on. But Michelle? She was walking straight into hell. Castro offered her a ride, said he knew where the courthouse was. Michelle, tired and anxious, accepted. But once inside his house, the door slammed shut behind her. The walls, thick with sound insulation, swallowed her screams. He chained her in the basement. Amanda Berry, April 21st, 2003. It was her birthday week. Her shift at Burger King had just ended. A familiar face pulled up in a vehicle, Ariel Castro, the father of one of her schoolmates. He offered her a ride home, trusting she got in. Instead, she was taken to Seymour Avenue. Amanda's mother, Lawana Miller, never stopped searching. Her pain was public, her face on the news. She died in 2006, never knowing her daughter was alive, just miles away. Gina De Jesus, April 2nd, 2004. 14 and bubbly, Gina vanished on her way home from school. Her best friend's father, Ariel Castro, had offered her a lift. He told Gina's family he was praying for her safe return. They didn't know he was her captor. Inside the house, Castro created an engineered hell. The girls were kept in separate, locked rooms. Windows were boarded shut. Food was scarce. Beatings were frequent. The rooms were rigged with alarms. Chains bolted to walls. Michelle was the first. She endured the longest, over 11 years of imprisonment, repeated assaults, psychological torment. She became the example Castro used to terrify the others. Amanda, still a teenager, was soon subjected to the same fate. In 2006, she gave birth to Castro's child. In a small inflatable kiddie pool, Michelle helped deliver the baby under threat of death if anything went wrong. The girl was named Jocelyn. Her existence brought a strange glimmer of hope into Amanda's darkness. Gina, the youngest, was targeted and manipulated, isolated, told lies about the outside world. The house on Seymour was divided, each girl trapped in a personal hell, yet all within earshot of one another. Time blurred. There were moments of false kindness, birthday cake once a year, maybe fast food on holidays, but always underscored with violence. Castro played music loudly to drown out the noise. He installed locks on every interior door. If guests ever came over, the girls were warned. Make a sound, and you die. One neighbor claimed they saw a naked woman crawling in Castro's backyard. Police visited but left after no one answered the door. Another time, someone reported hearing banging. Again, nothing came of it. Years passed. People assumed these girls were gone, dead, forgotten. But inside the house, they counted every day. The street outside 2207, Seymour Avenue, was chaos. Police cruisers, swarming media vans, neighbors frozen on their lawns, mouths agape. The word had already spread. Amanda Berry was alive, and she wasn't alone. Detective Andrew Harrisonchuk was among the first officers to enter the house. What he encountered inside would haunt him for the rest of his life. The interior was suffocating. Heavy curtains drawn, the air stale and tinged with something rotting. Doors were chained shut from the outside, locks on the inside, layers of padlocks, makeshift barriers, a twisted fortress designed not to keep intruders out, but to keep horror in. Amanda Berry emerged first with her 6-year-old daughter, clinging to her waist. Behind them came Gina De Jesus. Then Michelle Knight, frail, trembling, with eyes sunken from over a decade of torment. They were rushed to MetroHealth Medical Center. But the real work, the unraveling, had just begun. Ariel Castro was arrested just hours after the rescue. At first, he denied everything. Then, slowly, he began to unravel. Detectives described his demeanor as calm, disturbingly so. No remorse, no panic. He spoke about the girls as if they were objects. He called them companions. He referred to the chains and beatings as discipline. What stunned investigators most was how ordinary Castro's life appeared to be. He had no significant criminal record. He worked as a school bus driver for years. He played music in local bars. He even attended vigils for the girls he had imprisoned. Detectives discovered a journal kept by Michelle Knight hidden under a loose floorboard. Pages covered encoded dates, tally marks, and fragments of prayers. One entry read, "Still breathing, still here, still waiting." In Amanda's room, they found the remnants of a makeshift school, alphabet charts drawn on the wall for Jocelyn, children's books, dolls with missing limbs. Gina's room had nothing but a mattress on the floor. Scratched into the wooden bed frame were the words, "God is with me." The basement held the darkest secrets. Chains bolted to walls, a heavy metal pole with handcuffs, buckets used as toilets, a motorcycle helmet Castro used to muffle their screams. One detective said, it wasn't just a house. It was a dungeon wearing the mask of a home. News spread like wildfire. 3 women rescued after a decade in captivity. Cleveland's House of Horrors. The world was watching. FBI and forensic units swarmed the home. They tore up the floorboards, pulled apart walls, searched the yard for bodies. Rumors flew that more victims might be buried on the property, but none were found. The women, though physically rescued, had only begun their emotional return to the world. Michelle had missed her son's entire childhood. Amanda was raising a child born of her captor. Gina's innocence was stolen before she reached high school. The community, meanwhile, was reeling. How had this happened in plain sight? Neighbors reported odd things in retrospect. One saw Castro bringing fast food bags to the house multiple times a day. Strange for a man who lived alone. Another recalled seeing a small child looking out of the attic window. But when questioned, Castro claimed she was his girlfriend's niece. Police reports revealed shocking truth. Officers had visited Castro's home at least twice in the past decade. Once in 2004, after he left a child alone on his school bus. Another time for a domestic dispute. Each time, they left without inspecting further. FBI profilers described Castro as a textbook narcissistic sociopath. He manipulated the women into believing escape was impossible. He beat Michelle so severely she lost hearing in one ear. He convinced Gina her family had stopped searching. He told Amanda that the outside world was dangerous for her daughter. He thrived on control, alternating cruelty with slivers of kindness to fracture their sense of reality. But it was Jocelyn, the child born into captivity, who inadvertently lit the path to freedom. Her growing curiosity, her questions about the world outside, her innocence, made Castro careless. And Amanda, realizing the window of opportunity, had made her move. Faced with a mountain of evidence, Ariel Castro accepted a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. On August 1st, 2013, he pled guilty to 937 criminal counts, including kidnapping, rape, and aggravated murder, for inducing miscarriages in Michelle Knight through beatings and starvation. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 1,000 years. During the trial, Michelle Knight stood before him. "I spent 11 years in hell. Now your hell is just beginning. I will overcome all that happened, but you will face hell for eternity." But the story didn't end there. On September 3rd, 2013, just 1 month into his sentence, Ariel Castro was found hanging in his prison cell. He had used bed sheets. A Bible lay open beside him. Authorities called it suicide. Others called it the easy way out. As the last remnants of 2207, Seymour Avenue fell beneath the jaws of a wrecking crane, a city exhaled. The house was gone, but its memory? Indelible. Amanda Berry, Gina De Jesus, and Michelle Knight, 3 women who had become symbols of pain, were now slowly reclaiming their lives in the harsh glow of the public spotlight. For Michelle, it meant taking back her name. No longer voiceless, she released a memoir titled Finding Me, sharing her full journey, including the moments of unbearable darkness and her path to healing. She changed her name to Lily Rose Lee and spoke publicly about trauma, recovery, and forgiveness. "I chose to forgive him," she told a packed audience at a trauma survivors conference, because holding on to that hate was still giving him power. Amanda Berry found a mission in advocacy. She partnered with Fox 8 News in Cleveland to help find missing people. Every week, she told the stories of the lost, just as hers once had been forgotten. Her daughter Jocelyn, adjusting to freedom, began school with the help of counselors and a tightly guarded sense of privacy. Gina De Jesus, still quiet and guarded, co-founded the Cleveland Family Center for Missing Children and Adults with her cousin. It was housed in a renovated community center near her old neighborhood, just blocks from where she was abducted. Her goal? To make sure no child ever felt as alone as she once had. The community itself had changed. Police protocols were revised. Officers received updated training on how to handle missing person cases, especially those initially dismissed as runaways. A community review panel examined the missed warning signs and systemic failures, but some wounds would never heal. Lawana Miller, Amanda's mother, had died of heart failure in 2006, believing her daughter was still out there, but never seeing the day she came home. She died searching, Amanda once said in a rare emotional moment, and I lived to carry that fight on. Across the country, the case became a symbol of survival and of hard questions society was forced to ask. How could 3 girls vanish so completely? How did a man fool an entire neighborhood for over a decade? What does justice mean when the punishment can never undo the pain? The story of the Cleveland kidnappings isn't just about evil, it's about endurance. It's about a woman who counted the days by scratching lines into her wall, praying someone would remember her name. It's about a child, born in captivity, who unknowingly sparked a rescue. It's about missed knocks, ignored screams, and the terrifying idea that monsters don't wear masks. They wear uniforms, wave from porches, and play music too loud. And it's about resilience. About women who took back their names, their voices, and their futures. You can choose to be a victim, Michelle Knight once said, or you can choose to be a survivor. The house is gone. The chains are gone. But the legacy of what happened inside 2207, Seymour Avenue, will live on. In courtrooms, in schools, in policy, and in every missing person flyer posted on a telephone pole. Because the next time a voice cries out from the dark, maybe, just maybe, someone will hear it.